but from the heartlands of Te Kuiti, Dr. Bryce Edwards, a political commentator and, of course, director of the Integrity Institute. Kia ora, good morning.
Morena, Andrew, yes, Te Kuiti. I'm on the roadside and my car just filled up with petrol and had stopped because always have to do my Radio Rhema slot.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for pulling over for this one. It would be altogether different if you were driving and we were having this this conversation.
Indeed,
So safety
indeed.
first, Bryce. Hey, one of the big stories, and I hope this gets the headlines that it deserves, the end of a political career for David Parker. Now, this is somebody who has served the Labour Party well. In fact, you and I previously have talked about him potentially becoming a Labour leader or perhaps even Prime Minister.
Yes, David Parker has been in Parliament since 2002,
Yep.
and he's had a very distinguished career. And he's probably one of the MPs in Parliament that I have the highest regard for because he's a real principled politician with a lot of heft. He's not afraid of kind of being intellectual and
Yep.
thinking about things. And I think he has done a lot for the Labour Party, and they'll miss him a lot
Mm.
because he was trying to push the Labour Party into a direction that I think maybe they need to go in,
Yeah.
especially around dealing with tax reform. And he wanted to do things that weren't necessarily going to get the popularity ticks, but would do what a Labour Party does, which is, try and look after ordinary people by getting a decent tax take so that they can afford um, to spend on the welfare state, I guess. And he talked about doing a tax switch to reduce tax cut, if you like,
Yep.
for lower income people. And I think that is a lot of what his departure is about. I mean, he's had a long career, so he has to go at some stage,
Yep.
but I think he has struggled to sort of convince his caucus of the way he sees things.
We'll get back into the reasons in just a moment, but just, I suppose, looking at a political legacy this long, honestly, senior members of the Labour Party that have been around as long as David Parker, particularly there was that period of time where there was a sort of a revolving door of leaders of the Labour Party, and he seemed to keep his nose clean in that regard. I suppose one of the big...
Well,
Yeah,
yeah. And it's just worth mentioning that he did run for the leadership of the Labour Party
yep,
back about 2012, I think at 2011 it might have been, and he wanted to be leader, but he lost that. I think his running mate at the time was Nanaia Mahuta,
yep.
and he eventually did become the deputy leader under David Cunliffe, I think
Yep.
it was, and so he was deputy there for a while. But I don't know if you're about to ask, and I've jumped in here.
No, it's fine.
He's had some great, ministerial roles. He's been Attorney General twice.
Hmm.
He's been Environment Minister under Helen Clark's government,
Yep.
so he goes a long way back. He's done stints in trade and foreign affairs, economic development, and so he's had a lot of different. Revenue is really the big one for
Yes.
me, on tax, but and he's done lots of reforms in terms of bringing in the ETS, the emissions trading scheme. He totally overhauled the Resource Management Act. So, and he's been involved in lots of other economic areas. So I think it's a pretty solid track record he's got there
It certainly
in
is,
government.
and I suppose the point I was trying to make is who else has been there that long? Who else was a Labour MP when David Parker first became on back in 2002? That would be quite a short list, I imagine.
It would. Look, I'm struggling. Yeah, I think he would be the longest
Yeah, he's the
serving
Jerry
Labour
Brownlee of
MP.
Labour in some ways.
Exactly. I
Yeah,
mean, there's older MPs in other parties such as Jerry Brownlee, Winston Peters.
yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think there's anyone else that's been longer in Labour than him.
When
No.
it comes looking at the legacy and those things that you mentioned there, all good examples, is part of the issue here that yes, he did overhaul Resource Management Act, and he did some important things in terms of the environment as well. But
Yeah.
sitting in the opposition benches, watching all of his work being slowly unpicked by the new, the national-led coalition, with some of his reforms being undone or reversed, watching that happen. Watching somebody else, if you like, unstitch your legacy, it wouldn't be a fun way to spend your day, would it?
No, but that's life, and all politicians have to go through that.
Yeah.
I don't think he's got anything particularly unique in that experience. And certainly there's a good chance, probably a 50-50 chance that, there'll be a change of government next year.
Yep.
So it is interesting that he's choosing to go when he could be turning things over again in a
Yep.
year's time.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was interested in the timing of this to go midterm, as it were, to go even before to make his announcement before the budget announcements, given the revenue portfolios that he's held. The timing seems to be interesting. What do you think is behind that? Is he just over it, or is it a way of slipping away quietly without doing more damage to the Labour Party he loves and has served so well?
Yeah, I mean, you've certainly in any party you need to have rejuvenation and you need some of the old guard to move on at times, and you want them to do so well before the whatever the next election is. So
Yep.
that gives Labour more time um, to yeah bring in new spokespeople in the portfolios
Hmm.
and try and bring in fresh talent. So he's possibly thinking of the good of the party in that regard. But I've speculated for quite a while that he was on his way out.
Hmm.
Parker was on his way out, and he could have resigned, I think, at the last election
Yep.
prior to the election
Many
because
did.
I think well, he resigned from one of his portfolios,
Yep.
being the revenue spokesperson for Labour in the run up to the election, and that was quite a big thing for him to do that, and I wouldn't have been surprised if he'd resigned from the Labour Party list because
Yep.
he's of course a list MP at that same time, but I think he stayed on at that stage, even though he was frustrated with the direction of the then Labour government and the Labour Party because he probably didn't want to cause too much damage to
Yep.
his party. And he also wanted to keep fighting
Mm.
for some of the tax reforms that he thought Labour, really needed to do.
That he's
Um,
given up now, though, does this mean that the fight is over? That Labor is less likely to go in the direction that David Parker has been lobbying for so many years?
yeah, I think so. So there's a big debate going on within Labour at the moment about tax reform. There seems to be a consensus that there should be reform,
Yep.
that there should be some sort of either a capital gains tax or a wealth tax. So a capital gains tax is the more moderate version of their options, and a wealth tax is the more radical one. And so Parker was pushing for the wealth tax, and
Yep.
he has a faction in the party, I guess on the left of the party,
Hmm.
pushing for that. I would say that this suggests that they've lost that fight,
Yep.
and that it's going to be the more moderate capital gains tax that Chris Hipkins will be taking to the election next year.
And perhaps David Parker either knew that directly or could see the writing on the wall. As he,
That would be my
yeah, as I mean, this is all going to be happening quite quickly, and of course, the political exit interview is the valedictory speech. Do you expect some truth telling from David Parker in that space, or will he just go quietly into the night?
I always like a bit of truth telling from whatever MP, from whatever part of this political spectrum. We don't have it enough in New Zealand politics.
Yep.
And but David Parker really is, he's mostly a team player.
Yep.
So when he resigned his portfolio in the run up to the last election, that was the most radical thing he'd done, the most destabilizing thing. He doesn't normally do that.
Hmm.
And so even announcing yesterday that he's going, he tried to be very diplomatic and say this isn't about policy or dissatisfaction. But I thought that was him being kind, really.
Yep.
And he'll probably be kind in his valedictory speech too. He's very tribal Labour and he wouldn't want to hurt the party on the way out. But Yeah, I would still hope there will be a bit of truth telling. He will still kind of push, at least gently, for Labour to do some of the more principled things that he thinks they should do.
And perhaps a memoir in the future to really get to the bottom of why he is leaving. But yeah, especially as he's leaving, he's not going to anything new. He is just saying, hey, that's it, can't do this anymore. And hey, we wish him all the best for the future. Bryce, thank you for your insight and wisdom as always. We'll let you get back on the road. Thanks for being part of the show today.
Thanks, Andrew.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.